Africa is not seeking aid, it is seeking partners. And that is why we are here. Partners that understand value creation, sustainable development, and mutual industrialization. Thank you. Co-Chair, Excellencies, Heads of State, distinguished delegates, and ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed an honor to participate in this plenary session on the economic dimension of the Africa-Japan partnership. We gather at a critical time where global economic uncertainty, the reshaping of trade and new industrial revolutions demand bold action and strategic collaboration. Africa must not merely react to these forces, we must react by shaping them. South Africa is making progress in enabling our economy to participate in the rapidly changing global environment. We have stabilized our energy supply and are modernizing our infrastructure. We are opening our ports and rail to private sector investment. We are rolling out a reindustrialization agenda focused on localization, green energy, and regional integration. As part of our industrial policy, we are expanding trade with key countries and improving market access for South African agricultural and industrial products. We are incentivizing electric vehicles and battery production and supporting green hydrogen value chains through infrastructure and skills investment. South Africa is growing its health manufacturing capacity with a focus on vaccines, diagnostics, and therapeutics. Our country is also expanding digital infrastructure to bridge gaps in access and enhance service delivery. The Africa Continental Free Trade Area is central to our economic vision. South Africa seeks to deepen inter-Africa trade while becoming a continental industrial platform from which Japanese and other global firms can expand and export into our continent. We're actively working with the AFCFTA Secretariat to finalize value chain protocols in automotive, agro-processing, pharmaceuticals, and textiles. We support rules of origin harmonization to encourage manufacturing in Africa and the upgrading of border infrastructure to enable faster movement of goods. Recent tariff actions by the United States on African goods have highlighted the need to diversify our export markets. South Africa is a leading exporter of agricultural produce and high-quality industrial products such as automotive vehicles, as well as components. We call on Japanese counterpart companies to support tariff cooperation to ease market access for African goods. We seek partnership in infrastructure, in energy, in digital development through blended finance. We also seek partnerships in financing skills development, youth innovation, and small business scaling. Africa is not seeking aid, it is seeking partners, and that is why we are here. Partners that understand value creation, sustainable development, and mutual industrialization. Thank you.
Wow, what a message, what a speech from the President of South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, speaking from Yokohama, Japan. Africa has no shortage of good speeches. Africa has no shortage of good quotes. Africa has no shortage of inspiration speeches and quotes. Africa lacks light partners. And we are saying Africa is not seeking aid. Africa is seeking partners, not just partners, partners that understand value co-creation, sustainable development, and mutual industrialization. Those are partners that we seek here in the continent of Africa. Welcome and greetings, all of you, families, friends, fellow Africans, brothers and sisters here in the continent, and to you who are in the diaspora. We are here again to share our thought, ideas, and to find best solutions about our challenge. In this video, we are going to comment a little bit on what the President of South Africa, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, has spoken. Yes, Africa is seeking partners outside, but you know that Africa, we are almost 54, if not 55 states or countries. Do you see it is light for individual countries like South Africa, Kenya, Ghana to go out to seek partners while they are not partnering with other African nations? For me, I think we need to partner ourselves first before looking others. Let us, first of all, as African nations, working together, unite and partner. Sometimes you may find that what we are seeking to other nations are found here in the continent of Africa. You know, in Africa, sometimes you can hear that people are talking about we want to partner with maybe Japan in agriculture, in food production. But we know that in this continent, there are some countries that are producing enough food, but we are not partnering with them. We are seeking external partners to partner with them because maybe they are white or they are different from us. Sometimes it creates contradiction that we seek things that we have here in the continent of Africa. And one thing that African nations don't understand, when this summit is being conducted, the rest of the world are seeking a market of their product. They are not seeking partners. You don't think that Japanese are thinking about African partners for Africa maybe to develop. No, they are seeking market of their cars. They know right now Africa is producing and manufacturing electric cars, and Japan is famous for supplying cars in the continent of Africa. Toyota, all of us, we are familiar with Toyota and other Japanese companies that are supplying cars to Africa. Right now, African nations have started manufacturing their own cars. So Japan is seeking opportunity how they can tap and conquer the market of Africa in terms of car marketing. You see? But we Africans, we are saying we are seeking partners. In which sector? First of all, let us partner ourselves before moving to Japan, to China, to America. Let us partner ourselves. Can we work with Burkina Faso? You know, sometimes you wonder, this continent is, it looks like it's an amazing continent because you find that our leaders, let me ask, have you heard that President of South Africa went to Burkina Faso? Have you heard such kind of things? But President of South Africa went to America, went to Russia, it's okay, went to Japan, it's okay, to South Korea, to Italy. But I want one day to see that African heads of state, instead of looking outside, let us look inside. I want to hear that heads of state in the continent of Africa are visiting each other. I want to hear something like that. And we need to have a summit. One thing that is amazing me is when you see, for instance, this TICAD summit that is held in Japan. You find Bill Gates there. These Western powerful men are there. United Nations, Mr. Secretary is there, is listening what Africa is expressing themselves to Japan. They're taking note what Africa are saying and what Africa are doing. But you can't see that in this East African Summit, I'm giving example, or in the SADC Summit, you see ECOWAS leaders being invited. You don't see maybe Maghreb leaders are being invited. But in those summits, it is very easy to find that in the ECOWAS summit, the European Union members or representatives are being invited to attend the ECOWAS summit. And East African members are not invited. That's the Africa that we have. So we still believing that solutions are outside instead of believing that solutions are inside. So we need to change the way we think. Solutions are inside. If leaders are serious, they want solution for these challenges. They want to partner. So let me ask you, what's the population of Japan? And look at the population of Africa. Japan is almost, I think, 80, if it's not, let us assume, maybe 100,000 people. That's the population of Japan. Look at the population of Africa. 1.5 billion people. So do we need a market of Japan? Are we seeking a market? Some people may say that we don't have technologies. Is it true? Right now we see Africans started manufacturing their cars. Japan is famous for cars and infrastructures. Yes. Is it true that we Africans, for 60 years after independence, we cannot build our roads? We don't have technologies of railway. So I think we have to start within. So because we are not working together, we are not united, and no one can ask us what have we done in science and technology. But I'm sure if you look very keenly, we have technologies here in the continent of Africa. And to prove that, you remember a Zimbabwean innovator, Mr. Chikumbuso, a man who tapped radio frequency into energy. We have so many Chikumbuso in this continent. But because they are black, they are Africans, no one care. We care white people, we care Japanese, we care Chinese, we care Europeans. But if you are black, we have taught not to trust fellow black people. That's what the problem that we have. So it is okay, we seek partners, but I think before looking outside, let us look within. If we can start working together, partnering ourselves, we can move forward. We can solve all these challenges. Then we can go out as a bloc, not as an individual countries. What we lack, we can analyze that. Maybe we can feed ourselves. That's not a challenge. We can produce enough food. Yes. You know, sometimes we're being contradicted by environment. For instance, if you see people in Russia maybe using fertilizers, I'm using the word fertilizer purposely, because Russia is too cold, so they need the fertilizers to make crops growing very fast. But in Africa, many of our countries are staying in tropical. It is hot countries, so they don't need these boosters. The environment itself is boosting crops to grow fast. You cannot compare with Russia. A maize in Russia can maybe spend 9 months, but in Africa, in areas where there's high temperature or the area that is so hot, you can find that it can take 3 months to 5 months for a maize to grow, for a rice to grow. So we want to make things like Russia because of the environment. We have to accept that that is Russia and this is Africa. And that's why we lose jobs to others, because we want to copy what others are doing and to implement here in the continent of Africa. So we create jobs for others instead of creating jobs for ourselves. Africans processed iron even before Europeans started doing things. When the Europeans came to Africa, they determined that Africans have technologies. They took our technologies, they advanced them, and they use for their own benefit. And that's why today Europe is high, but they use our technologies. They took our artifacts. They took everything. Those artifacts made by iron, made by soil, made by trees, Africans are the creators. But we, the country nation, we don't believe it. We think goods must come from China, or good things must come from China, Europe, Japan, somewhere else. How? So families, please, if you have something to share with us, please share. We are just commenting on what President Ramaphosa said for the good purpose. And the aim is to make Africans feel that we can also. Even we can miss partners. If you try to think what partners will not come to us, what if partners will not accept to work with us, what will happen? So we have to accept that we have capacities, we can do better, and we are responsible for what we need to do as Africans. That is my concern on this, what President Ramaphosa said. But if you listen what the president of South Africa has spoken, he's expressing what is happening in South Africa because he's the president of South Africa. But he ended with this statement that Africa is not seeking aid, it is seeking partners. You see, this is the statement that is supposed to be spoken by the president of United Africa. The doubt is Africa seeking partner or partners as individual countries, or we are seeking partners as a block continent? That's what I want to share here. If you are listening, what Ramaphosa has said, apart from this statement, he is attracting partners, Japanese partners and world partners in South Africa. The thing that, for me, I think it is not right. It is okay for President Ramaphosa, but as Africa, this is not right. We need, as Africans, or Africa continent, before going out there, before having many leaders who they will speak about the nations, we need leaders who will speak about Africa, who will speak on behalf of African continent. And that can be possible if Africa, we can be united. We need Africa that speak with one voice. Yes, we want partners. In which areas? If we analyze the areas where we seek partners, we need partners. Because if you listen, all of our leaders who attended this TICAD summit in Yokohama, Japan, many of them, they have attracted partners to their nations. Just imagine, to those who didn't being invited. Because, these nations, they have their own interest. And we know that Japan is Eastern country, but is very closely to these Western countries. So there are some leaders who are against exportation, who are not invited, but their voices are not heard in that summit. So if you talk about your nation, it means you create a division. That's what I see in speeches, that every leaders in the continent of Africa are speaking about his or her nation instead of speaking about the continent of Africa. So that is how we create division. And we are going to see some countries in the continent of Africa being developed more than others. And that will create also division. For instance, right now you had the issue of xenophobic attack in South Africa. You know why xenophobic attack is happening in South Africa? It's because South Africa looks like more developed country than the rest of African nations. So South Africans, black South Africans, they feel that they are more proud and they are more Africans than Nigerians, than Congolese. They are so special than Mozambicans, Zimbabweans, because their nation is developed than Zimbabwe, than Botswana. So they feel they are so special. And when Zimbabweans and the rest of African went to seek opportunity there, they see these people are coming to take our resources. These people are coming to take our jobs. They start attacking them. That's how xenophobic is happening. So today it is happening in South Africa. Tomorrow will happen in other nations. And that's how Africa remaining divided. So I'm saying this because I want to hear the voice of Africa, not the voice of leaders of African nations. I want to hear the voice of Africa. It means we need to speak with one voice. Yes, we need partners. We have gold. We talk about minerals. We have minerals, and minerals are almost everywhere. So this time we want Japanese to invest maybe in SADC. If Japanese want to invest, come and invest in SADC. You are not allowed to go to ECOWAS. You see, if Japanese want to invest, maybe Chinese want to invest in infrastructures, we have to cite some locations. Maybe you have to invest, or to cite a sector that Japanese, you have investors. And it is true that Japanese cannot invest in the entire continent. Is it true? Japanese cannot invest in every sector in the entire continent. We have to cite and to select where we will give Japanese, or where we will partner with Japan. That's what I want to hear from our leaders. Where Chinese are going to partner with Africa, not as an individual countries, as the continent, where if Chinese will partner with Africa in infrastructures, the entire continent will benefit. That's what we want to hear. But if we continue with this division, every leader will attract according to what they want, and these people will choose where they want to invest. Right now we have Inga. No one is talking about Inga Dam. That we have Inga Dam projects that can power the entire continent of Africa. So we want partners in energy. Let us bring them in Inga Dam. We have uranium. Let us partner with them in uranium. As a whole continent, we know that we have uranium in Niger, we have uranium in Tanzania, in Uganda. It means East Africa, I mean. If you talk about Niger, you talk about West Africa. If I don't mean ECOWAS, I'm talking about West Africa. Don't confuse, please. You are talking about East Africa. We have uranium in Tanzania, in Uganda. We have uranium in southern part of the continent, I mean Namibia. If we want to partner in energy, to those who have uranium technologies, they can choose whether they are going to invest in East Africa or in southern part of the continent, in Namibia, and that energy must power the entire industries in southern part of the continent. If they are going to invest in Niger, it means uranium of Niger will power the entire western part of the continent. If it's about hydro, as I said, we have Inga. If we are going to partner with others in hydro electric generation, we have Inga Dam. All the entire continent will give opportunity, will partner with the rest of the world or other partners in Inga. Then from there, they can supply electricity to across the continent of Africa. That's how we can do. Those are just my thoughts. But if we continue to under this division, the way we are today, Japanese will decide, I want to invest maybe in South Africa. I will not go to Burkina Faso. I will invest in Kenya. I will not invest in Uganda. You can see how it looks like Kenya will be more developed than other nations in East Africa. Then these things will create division among us. Kenyans will feel proud. South Africans will feel proud. Ghanaians will feel proud than others. And that's how division is being created. So to avoid division among Africans, African heads of states, leaders must speak with one voice. Yes, we need partners. But if you want to partner with us, as a continent, we have agreed that if you want to partner with us in energy sector, go and invest in hydro. If you don't have hydro technology, we have solar. Go and invest in solar in Namibia, because in Kalahari there's enough sun. Go and invest in uranium. In agriculture, if we want to partner in agriculture, we know we cite the areas where we can produce enough food to feed the entire continent. There's that possibilities. And that possibilities can come if African heads of states can unite and speak with one voice. Before going to these summits, African heads of states and governments have to have their own summit. And I call to our leaders that we need to have an emergency meeting. Not just emergency. We need to have to have a meeting that will shape the future summits. That we have this, what we lack as Africa. We lack this, and that. Then we analyze what we lack. And when we go out there, we go as a block that we lack maybe some technology. Then if we want technology, how are we going to get that technology? Maybe we have to send our students, our people to somewhere, to Ghana, to China, to maybe to Japan, to acquire a certain technology. And how many people are supposed to go there? We have to set, if it is about 50, we have to make sure that each nation have to take one person to go there and get that technology. Then those who came back with that technology, they have to start teaching others and telling them that we have to do this and that and that. Then that technology can spread across the continent. We have to create centers, innovation centers for the entire continent of Africa, not as for individual countries. So families, friends, fellow Africans, those are my thoughts, those are my views from what the president of President of South Africa, Mr. Ramaphosa, has said. But all in all, the aim is to share our ideas, our views, and to comment on what President Ramaphosa has said. The aim is to see how Africa can benefit from this summit, from partners, instead of seeing that partners are going to somewhere else and leaving some people without development. If we can speak as a continent, as a united Africa, we can avoid division, such kind of division. So families, friends, fellow Africans, we are not head seekers. We are seeking partners. We have resources. And we have everything here in the continent of Africa. So if we can start working together, partnering ourselves, we can make Africa great, and no one will see us as beggars, as aid seekers. That's what I think. Those are just my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Africa, Mama Africa. Oh, yeah. You make Africa great. Thank you, Africa. Thank you, Africa.